Okay, so welcome everybody and welcome to this open session. It's lovely to have you. If just for the sake of interest, it would be lovely to hear where you're joining from. A lot of our students are international, so it'd be nice to hear whereabouts in the world or Europe or UK you are based in. Just put up in the chat just to say hi to everybody. My name's Afshan. I am the Programme Manager and I'm based in Edinburgh, which is actually quite sunny today. Which is a rare occurrence. So yeah, it'd be lovely to hear where you're all from. Okay, so I think I will get started with the presentation and then I'll pop back into the chat shortly and say hi to everybody. Yeah, okay. All right, I'm going to switch my camera off just so that it runs a little bit more smoothly. Okay, so welcome to this Masters in Clinical Trials Open Day presentation. So over the next 20 minutes, I'm going to cover a little bit about the programme, so the overview, what happens in the programme, what does the structure look like and the timelines and what are the courses. I'm going to point you towards why maybe you should study the programme, what are the benefits, what our current students look like, who's our cohort, who our normal students are, kind of thing, what kind of background they come from. How it is that you actually learn, given that it's an online programme, what are the different career opportunities that this could lead to, and then I'll open it up for a question and answer session towards the end. Okay, so in brief, this is the core team. So we have Stuart Ralston, who is the Programme Director. He's a physician in rheumatology, but he's been directing this programme for over 12 years now. My name's Afshan Dean, I'm the Programme Lead. So I've been leading this programme for 3 years. Prior to this, I have worked in clinical trials. But my PhD was actually in fetal endocrinology. So a little bit different from clinical trials, but yeah, it's a bit of a diverse background. And we have Laura Stewart, who's also joined us today. Dr. Laura Stewart is our programme lecturer. She's got a statistician. She's a statistician. She's got a statistics background. We have Rebecca Sowell, who is our programme administrator and pretty much keeps the whole programme afloat. And then we have Antonia Sophoulis, who is our dissertation coordinator, and she is actually based in Cyprus. She is an assistant professor at the University of Cyprus, but also works at the University of Edinburgh as our dissertation coordinator. So this is the core team, but in addition to that, we have a very large supportive team. We have, because this is an online programme, we have the virtual learning platform is actually supported by the digital education team. We call them the DEU team. So everything that you'll see online, everything that's interactive, the courses, the programme, is all supported by an excellent digital education team. But probably the most important thing that I'd like to stress out of this is, and their names aren't on this slide at all, is the course leads. So each of our courses is actually taught by people who work in clinical trials. So it's quite a unique course because it's not your traditional academics who haven't worked in clinical trials. It is pretty much, I would say, all taught by people who work in clinical trials of some form or another. Some of them are external to the university, so are based in the NHS. Some of them are based in the Edinburgh Clinical Trials Unit. Some of them are in the university, but every single one of our courses is taught by an area expert, which is very unique, and it's great. It's fantastic. So that's the team. And then where are we? Well, we're based in Edinburgh traditionally, which I'm a born and raised Edinburgh girl, so I'm very biased in saying that I think it's one of the most beautiful cities in the whole world. But it is an incredibly beautiful city, and we're very lucky because we've actually, at the moment, we are based in one of the older buildings. So this kind of top left-hand picture that you can see here, we're based here at the moment. However, there is a new building being made over by the new hospital quarters. And we're going to be moving out there next year, I believe. Also, Stuart Ralston, the director, he's actually based within the genetics and molecular medicine unit, which is over at the Western General Hospital. Like I said, he's a rheumatologist there as well. So Yeah, so we're based in Edinburgh. However, all of our students are international. And so what is nice is that on graduation, you have the opportunity to come to Edinburgh for your graduation. So it's an excuse if you've not been here already. So why study with us? What is it about this programme? So we are, of course, one of the world's best universities. We're one of the world's top universities, and we're globally recognised for our research, development, innovation, and quality of teaching. So, of course, we have that reputation to withhold, and it's a high reputation. Oops. We're a part-time flexible programme of study. So I think this is quite important because a lot of the people who come to do this programme are actually working already, and we offer a flexible approach whereby you can do this around your work, and we make sure that it is doable around your work and any other commitments that you might have. It supports the demand for appropriate qualified health professionals. The course lessons are delivered in a variety of formats. So you have, like I said, an online learning platform. However, we have some live lectures. We have things that are already pre-recorded. We have reading materials. I'll go into a lot of this in a bit more detail slightly further on in the presentation. But we have group discussion boards. We have we put groups together for meetings. So there's all different formats that can suit various different types of learners. And we have also designed the programme for both individual and collaborative activities. So really giving you that feel as if you are on campus, because if you're on campus, you have the individual and collaborative thing going on as well. So the programme is designed to provide that also. And it's suitable for professionals in all aspects of clinical trials careers, like no matter where you are in your career, whether you're just about to start it, whether you're well established within it, whether you're in a completely different part of your career and are looking to start getting involved in clinical trials, or it could be that you're in clinical trials and there's just a few things that you want to research and to learn about, and actually you might not want to do the full masters, you might just want to do a postgraduate certificate or a diploma. So it really can be tailored to exactly what it is that you're wanting to achieve. So who normally is on our programme? Well, we get all sorts on our programme, which is great. We have such a diverse group of students, and it's lovely. So we have, like I said, we have students from all over the world. So we have lots of different cultures joining us. But we tend to have, from a professional background, it can be anything. It can be nurses, dentists, doctors, and the medical doctors can be a whole different range, as you can see here on the left. Within clinical trials, we have every element of clinical trial is coming to us. So that's coordinators, ethical, regulators, QA, pharmacovigilance, anybody who's even worked in kind of coordinating management. We even have a lot of kind of well-established project managers coming to us within clinical trials, and then various other professional backgrounds as well, physiotherapists, nurses, yeah, all sorts. The list is endless, and it's great because it's such a diverse group that we all learn so much from each other. I mean, we learn from the students as well as the students learning from us. So it's lovely when we have group projects and when you have the group discussion boards. Different backgrounds really come across, and it's lovely. Okay, so the programme learning outcomes, and I believe these are on our website as well. So we want to produce graduates who have a critical understanding of the principles, science, and the evidence which underpins clinical trials. They have to have the ability to critique current approaches in clinical trial design and implementation. We like our students to take responsibility for their own learning and development within the clinical trials environment, and we train you how to do that. Our graduates have to have the ability to communicate design, implementation, and results of clinical trials to a variety of different audiences, because that is very true in working in clinical trials. And the resolve to work professionally and with integrity in a multidisciplinary research team to deliver effective clinical trials. So any of you who are working in clinical trials at the moment will actually know that this is the way that the the field works. It is definitely a multidisciplinary research team, no matter which phase of clinical trials you're in. So these are our learning outcomes. We take pride in ensuring that our graduates have these when they leave. Oh, and the skill to design and implement and report clinical trials as well. So how do we do this? So this is our program structure over the 3 years. We are split into 3 semesters. So year 1, so before you start the program, we do some pre-program inductions. So this is done over the summer, usually kind of August time, depending on when everyone has enrolled. So semester 1 of year 1 is a core course. So the ones that you see in green here are what we call core courses. So they are imperative. So you have to do those ones. We believe that the information that's covered and the knowledge that's covered in these 2 modules is fundamental. So first years do these 2 courses. Now you can choose to do a postgraduate certificate, which means that you would only do year 1 of the program. You can choose to do a postgraduate diploma, which means you do year 1 and year 2, or you could do the full masters, which is year 3. I think there's somebody waiting in the lobby. Just a minute. Okay. So yes, so these are your options as to which certificate you would like to go for and how long you'd like to spend going towards it. Now each year is worth 60 credits and this is split into each course is worth 20 credits. This is changing slightly in the future, but I'll talk about that later on. Each of these individual courses can be taken alone as what's called a PPD, a professional development course. A personal professional development course, and so they can be taken alone. So yes, so once you've done your core courses in year 1, you'll move on to do an elective, and this is basically, I'll go on to tell you what the elective choices are shortly, but this is basically means that you can, there's a problem with somebody in the lobby. Hannah, are you able to admit guests in the lobby?
I am, and I'm trying to, but it's apparently not working with this one.
Okay. Can I just leave that with you then so I can carry on with the presentation?
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, so yeah, so you get a choice of electives and we offer at least 8 electives and we're actually adding to that more so. So the next academic year, we're going to actually have about 11 different elective choices and then even more so in the academic year thereafter. And what that means is you can actually almost form like a pick and mix and tailor this exactly to what it is that you want to achieve, the knowledge that you want to gain, and how it is that you want to even learn, because different courses are taught in different ways. So you may choose courses based on the knowledge, but you may also want to have certain skills that are taught in particular courses. And so you can really tailor this master's to what it is that you want to come out with. And in the final year, you do a dissertation, which is worth the entire 60 credits. So this is the program structure. So the elective choices that we offer our students are here. So we offer principles in clinical trial management, monitoring and auditing, pharmacovigilance, health economics, clinical trials and special populations, patient and public involvement, trial design, and medical devices is something that we're actually going to develop, I think, for not next academic year, the year after. But there are kind of smaller versions of medical devices that you can do. However, trial design, I think, is probably the one which I highly encourage second years to do if they're leaving with a postgraduate diploma, or even if the first years are leaving with a postgraduate certificate. So at some point, I do recommend that the students do trial design, because I think it's incredibly important that students know how to design a clinical trial, but also to critique a clinical trial. And this is all covered in trial design. The rest are, I mean, equally important, but I just think that that's it really I think trial designs is incredibly important at some point in your journey. Like I said, one of the nicest things about our programme, and I think one of the most impressive things, is that these are taught by people who are specialists within their field. So, for example, pharmacovigilance is taught by Paula Smith, who works in pharmacovigilance. Patient and public involvement is taught by Carol Porteous, who is head of PPI in the NHS, and so forth. So, yeah, we have a lot of specialists who deliver these, and our core courses are actually taught by the first one is actually taught by the Edinburgh Clinical Trials Unit, and the second one is taught by James Gibson, who is also within the NHS. So these are our elective choices. So how is the actual programme taught? So it's an online programme, and one thing about online learning is that whilst it can be convenient given in the post-pandemic world, it can also be quite isolating as a student. And so we want to make it as easy for you and as enjoyable for you as possible. So our virtual learning environment that we use is a platform called Learn. And within Learn, there is a range of resources and activities. So essentially you log in, you are given a login for Learn, and you have your courses in there. And each week you will have a new set of lectures, reading, guest lectures, discussion boards. So you can have interactive written content, and there'll be ebooks, video stories, podcasts, web resources. So there's a whole host of different ways that you will learn in the way that the content is given to you. In terms of student support on your journey, there is a lot here. So we obviously have the induction activities. So I believe at the beginning of the academic year, it's very nice to find out who you are, where you are, for you to meet fellow peers, for you to meet the team. So we do all of these things at the start, and we also give you a little bit of light reading if you so want to do it. You don't actually have to do it because some students actually aren't able to join until September. So you'll probably cover that reading in September anyway. But yeah, it's just, and we also have like a map, like an interactive map where everyone can pin whereabouts in the world they are. So it's just to get to know your peers and for us to get to know you as well. We give you quite an in-depth study guidelines and handbooks, so you know exactly kind of what is expected of you and what you can expect of us. You have a whole plethora of library resources, so just because you're not on campus doesn't mean that you're not doesn't mean that you're restricted in any shape or form by the resources that you can access. We have discussion boards. I think this is a wonderful way for us to interact with you and with your peers. So these are also on Learn, and you can dive into them and have discussions on them, questions, answers, and that can be general kind of questions and answers, but we also have kind of subject-specific ones as well. We have recorded and live guest lectures, tutorials. In terms of student support, more recently we have in place a student advisor. So this is somebody who's dedicated to you if you have any sort of questions, queries that are kind of outside of the knowledge and the academic side of things. It can be logistics, it could be things going on in your life that you might need some support with. We have a student advisor, as well as now we have a student wellbeing officer as well. So there is lots of support within the University of Edinburgh for our students. And so going back to how you learn, active learning, so collaboration and group work I think are very important. And actually it's interesting that it's something that it's quite easy to shy away from, group work. I think a lot of your students, as soon as they hear that, think, oh no, but actually it's incredible how much students get out of it, and actually how much they do enjoy it once they get involved. Now, this can also lead to debate and discussion, particularly within the second term of your first year. There's some great debates in there, and again, it's something that the students seem to get a lot out of. Delivering presentations, we think this is important in terms of, well, real life skills. Blogging, and this is something I'll talk about momentarily, but we have a system that we use called PebblePad, and we also have different methods of blogging throughout the university, and the university highly promotes it. In terms of your independent learning, reflective practice is something which I am very keen on. I think that it's very important that continually throughout your journey on this course, regardless of how long it is, it's important to reflect how you're doing, and just keep a note of that. And there are certain assessments within the programme as well, which include reflective practice. Other assessments can include critically reviewing and appraising content, and analysis, and these are all key transferable skills that you'll need if you're working in clinical trials. Some of our assessments come in the forms of multiple choice questions and exams, but more so now with essays, and also writing proposals and trial protocols. So we believe in authentic assessment, and so therefore, like I said, we cover assessment in various different forms, whether it's individual projects, group projects, reflective blogging, and debating, and graded discussion boards as well, and peer assessment. So marking and feedback. So we think that marking and feedback is really, it requires a lot of attention, you know, and we're quite proud of the system that we have. So we use Turnitin as our portal, so you will submit your assessments via Turnitin, and we make our marking criteria very transparent. So exactly how it is that you will be marked. We give individual feedback for individual components of each assessment to you, so that you know exactly what you did right and maybe what you need to work on, if anything. Turnitin allows for double-blind marking and moderate feedback. So every single assessment on this programme is double-blind marked, so markers who can't see what the other marker has said or who you are, and then they come together and give a moderated mark. So they have to be in agreement of their mark. So it's double-blind marking. You also have a personal tutor, although this is changing in the next academic year. So at the moment, we offer our students a personal tutor. And this, so for example, I have personal tutees, and it's a lot more of a pastoral role. Somebody that you can just turn to and have a chat with, which I really enjoy. But moving forward, this is going to be renamed as a cohort lead. So there'll be 2 cohort leads, and that'll be myself and Laura Stewart, who's also on today. So we will be your cohort leads. Being a student of the university also means that you have a voice, and we take what our students say very seriously, because you are, of course, our customers, and we want to make sure we're getting it right. So every year, at the beginning of the academic year, we ask for student representatives for each year. We ask for at least 2. And as a student rep, you have somebody to voice your concerns to, any thoughts, any comments. And then we have a meeting. So the student reps and myself and the management team have a meeting once every term. And this is called the Student Staff Liaison Committee meeting, in which we discuss anything that's been raised by our students and what we can do to address it. We also have kind of more regularly now on the Learn platform, a space where you can voice your weekly concerns about any of the content or anything, any suggestions you might have, any praise you might have. So it's a lovely way to hear how your week has been going, and it's very informative for us. So yeah. So yes, like I said, we have student representatives from every single year, which gives us a chance to have feedback, but also we have the discussion boards as well on Learn. We normally hear what's going on with the students and their thoughts on the discussion boards. So that, like I said, the personal tutor is now going to be the cohort lead, but this is also another avenue for you to tell us what you're thinking. We have student surveys at the end of each term. However, we have now, like I said, moved this out to a weekly thing, because I think actually it's more of a live interactive response that we get. So that's why we've changed them weekly. The other element that we have is on the Learn, you'll find a page called You Said We Did. So things that you have suggested and we have maybe changed or modified or edited, or and so it's very much what our students say and what we're delivering and what their opinion is of it is very important to us. So yeah, so we pride ourselves on listening to our students. So what do our students say? This is a quote from Asha. She was actually one of our graduates pre-pandemic. She says that you can work full-time clinical trials or have a clinical background and study for this degree. I personally feel that studying with the University of Edinburgh has been the best experience for me. And yeah, we actually do get a lot of nice comments from our graduates, which is always nice. And yeah, so that's just one student's quotes, but we have a plethora of them. So I do pride myself on this program because I think it is a fantastic program. So what can this program lead to? So there are various different career opportunities within clinical trials, as some of you will know already. But some of the key roles for people who have a master's in clinical trials or some sort of a qualification, whether that's the CERT or the DIP, you can get into a CRO, so any sort of clinical research organisation. So you can get into clinical research associates, reg affairs, pharmacovigilance. I mean, we cover a lot of these things within our program. The kind of companies that you'd then be looking for could be pharmaceutical, like I said, CROs, public sector, the NHS, academia, non-profit charities, medical device and technology companies. But it doesn't really stop there. You're getting so many transferable skills in this program. It really does depend on what it is that you want to do and what it is that you aspire for your career. And that's really the only limitation. So yeah, there's lots of different career opportunities stemming from this master's. The best part of the entire program for me, and the best day for me, is graduation day. So this is whether you get your cert or your diploma or your full master's, we hold a graduation ceremony, usually in the winter, in November, where we celebrate just what you've achieved. And it's truly wonderful. So I get to see a lot of my students online and Teams calls and Zoom calls, but it's the first time I usually get to see them face to face. And there's a graduation ceremony and then usually a small celebration afterwards as well. So this is just some photos. So on the top left-hand side is the old McEwen Hall, which is one of the oldest university buildings, and it has the most magnificent ceiling, which is why I have a picture of it in there, because it's just fantastic. You can't actually believe it until you see it. And these are some of our students who have graduated in the past. This is the one in the bottom right was actually our ceremony held. It was actually the spring ceremony held a couple of months ago. So yeah, that was some of our master's students there. And this is just some more pictures of our students enjoying their day in Edinburgh. So yeah, that is our programme in a nutshell. I am open to some questions if there are any. And also I'm going to leave this page here if anyone does want to have a look at any more of our details. But